Hi everyone, I'm Xiaowei Chen from the University of Luxembourg. Thank you for the opportunity to present our paper, The Effects of Group Discussion and Roleplay Training on Self-efficacy, Support Seeking and Reporting Phishing Emails, Evidence from a Mixed Design Experiment. This is the structure of today's presentation: study motivation, related work, study design, our findings, and conclusion. Phishing attacks exploit human factors by using social engineering techniques to deceive individuals into divulging confidential information or installing malware on their devices. According to the FBI Internet Crime Report, phishing attacks are the most reported cybercrime in recent years. Phishing is typically used as the initial entry point for more advanced attacks, including ransomware attacks, intellectual property theft, and business scams, posing huge threats to organizational information security. Our study focuses specifically on anti-phishing trainings. Various programs have been deployed in the field to educate and train employees about phishing attacks. Simulate phishing campaigns and online courses are among the most popular interventions adopted by organizations. However, two large-scale and long-term studies, one in Switzerland and one in Australia, they found contradicting results regarding the effectiveness of embodied phishing campaign. Studies show instructor-based training was more effective in transferring knowledge than computer and text-based trainings, and instructor-based training reached the highest scores in user satisfaction and confidence. However, these anti-phishing trainings are not always embraced by employees. Multiple studies suggest that employees want more practical and interactive training approaches. So, what are the promising training formats? In this study, we designed and deployed two phishing interventions in the field. The first one used group discussion as a training, encouraging employees to share their experience and expertise in counter-phishing. For the second approach, we instruct employees to play the role of hackers to phish each other during the training. Both trainings were designed with the goal of increasing social interactions at workplace regarding phishing attacks and enhance employees' skills in identifying phishing attempts. Before designing our study, we surveyed how previous phishing intervention studies measure the effectiveness of phishing interventions. The majority of our reviewed study conducted either user evaluation, which focuses on studying the usability of the intervention, or conduct between subjects experiment, which compares the training effects with alternative interventions. We only found one study chose the approach of measuring the training effects over time in the field. Questionnaires were frequently used to assess participants' learning experience, self-efficacy, perceived effectiveness, phishing knowledge, confidence level, and feedback. Log data of simulate phishing tests and phishing classification tasks have been used in many previous intervention studies. Observation of time spent on the task, group discussions, and participants' designs have been analyzed to evaluate the interventions. Based on previous work, we used three categories of measurements in our study. For the assessment scale, we borrowed anti-phishing self-efficacy scales from previous studies as an indicator of employees' belief in their ability in defending against phishing attacks. We adapted the instrumental support seeking scale as a measurement of capturing social interactions when encounter phishings. For the performance, we used the number of reported and non-clicking on links within simulate phishing tests as indicators of participants' resilience to phishing emails. Additionally, we collected employees' feedback with open-ended questions. We also asked them to rate the perceived effectiveness and their likelihood to recommend the training. Consequently, we formulate our following 3 research questions. First, what is the effect of role-play training on employees' anti-phishing self-efficacy compared to group discussion and the control group? Number 2, what is the effect of role-play training on employees' support-seeking intention when receive phishing emails compared to group discussion and the control group? Number 3, how do group discussion and role-play training influence employees' response to phishing attacks? To address our research questions, we conducted a pre-registered mixed design experiment between July and August 2023. The experiment incorporated 3 conditions, repeated measure at 3 time points, and 3 in-situ phishing tests. We sought participants' consent of sending them simulated phishing tests after they registered their interest of joining our study. In the end, 105 employees of the University of Luxembourg participated in our study. We randomly assigned them into 3 conditions: group discussion, role-play training, and the control group, 35 participants in each condition. We deployed 6 sessions of each intervention over 19 days in July 2023. Both trainings used the same study materials for introduction, phishing fundamentals, and conclusion phase. We include all the training materials, study protocol, and our dataset in the supplementary material. Now let's move to our key findings. First, we look into the score changes in anti-phishing self-efficacy. For the within-group analysis, we used the Friedman's test. As you can see from the table, in the group discussion condition, both Day 2 and Day 7 assessment demonstrate statistical significance comparing to pre-training assessment. This means participants became more confident in their ability of defending against the phishing attacks. In the role-play condition, Day 2 did not reach statistical significance, but Day 7 demonstrated statistical significance. For the between groups analysis, we used the cross-corvallis test. Both trainings did not reach statistical significance when compared with the control group. When it comes to intention to seek support scores, for within groups analysis, both trainings demonstrate statistical significance on Day 2 and Day 7 comparing to pre-training assessment. This means after both trainings, participants were more willing to seek support when they encounter phishing attacks. When we compare between groups, role-play training demonstrated statistical significance in support-seeking intention, but group discussion did not reach statistical significance. Regarding feedback from the Day 7 questionnaire, both trainings were considered as very good in perceived effectiveness, and participants indicate high likelihood to recommend the training to their colleagues. We used the MaxQDA to code and visualize participants' answers to the open-ended question from all questionnaires. The bright red indicates the largest number of the row. As we can see from the figure, more participants of both trainings mentioned specific practices to evaluate phishing content, report phishing email to the IT department, and interacting with their colleagues regarding phishing. Regarding which aspects of the training participants found useful for learning, participants mentioned that they gained knowledge of various phishing techniques, communication channels, and attack tactics after both trainings. Participants from both trainings found discussion with their colleagues useful in deepening their understanding and improve their skills. to counter phishing attacks. 15 role-play training attendees referred to the task of designing a phishing email as useful. 7 participants from role-playing compare 4 participants from the group discussion mentioned interesting or fun. However, a dozen participants from both trainings lowered their level of self-efficacy after training. Regarding the simulated phishing test results, we did not find a difference in non-clicking behavior between groups with chi-square analysis, but clicking numbers might have been too low to detect differences. But the 2 training conditions have significant higher numbers of reporting in the simulated phishing test with the theme of data breach and security alerts. Our findings have several implications. Role-playing as hackers is an effective and enjoyable approach to enhance employees' support-seeking intention upon receiving suspicious emails. Regarding anti-phishing self-efficacy, participants might not have immediately grasped how role-playing as hackers could be relevant in their professional context. This emphasized the importance of measuring training effects in the field and beyond the immediate assessment. Group discussion can be an effective method for delivering rich narrative or story-based anti-phishing training. Both group discussion and role-play training can effectively increase employees' propensity of reporting phishing emails. Our findings suggest that it is possible to get meaningful results in social engineering studies with obtaining prior informed consent. We adapt and introduce the support-seeking intention as a meaningful metric to measure in phishing intervention studies. By measuring both self-reported data and behavioral responses in the field, our methodology could inform future intervention study design. To conclude, our study underscores the significance of discussing phishing incidents and sharing anti-phishing practices in the workplace, which can enhance employees' self-efficacy, support-seeking intention, and vigilance against phishing threats. Furthermore, we proposed a promising methodology to examine training effects within and between subjects, measuring both self-reported and behavioral changes in the field. Our study proposed to employ role-playing as an effective and enjoyable approach to deliver anti-phishing and potentially cybersecurity trainings. Thank you for your attention. For more insights, scan the QR code to access our full paper. We look forward to your opinions about our work.